Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's discussion of virtue ethics. And the version of virtue ethics we'll be reading was written by Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher. In fact, one of the two most important philosophers from antiquity and one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Aristotle begins his discussion of ethics by noting that the ultimate goal of all persons is to be happy. And while some philosophers argue that the best way to achieve happiness is to follow certain rules or maximize pleasure, Aristotle argues that the best way to attain happiness is to cultivate a virtuous character. Of the two kinds of virtue that he recognizes, moral virtue is not surprisingly the one we should focus on in order to develop a virtuous character. Notice that I just said we need to develop a virtuous character. It is important to realize that, according to Aristotle, while we are all born with a capacity to be virtuous, actually being virtuous is like a skill. Is a skill like carpentry that we need to learn and practice to be good at. It turns out that the key element to being virtuous is being able to find the mean or right amount of our various emotions, dispositions, and actions. In other words, the goal is not to avoid being angry, but to have the right amount of anger. Similarly, we don't want to be honest all of the time, but to be honest at the right time and in the right manner. To be virtuous, one must avoid extremes in actions and emotions. That, in a nutshell, is the foundation of Aristotle's virtue ethics. The essay in the book goes into more detail, but the basic idea is that to be virtuous is to cultivate the right amount, not too much, not too little, of the many human virtues. Thanks for listening to this week's presentation. As always, contact me if you have any questions.